Welcome to the JBJ Management Podcast. I'm Willis Johnson, and you are?
I'm Samantha Gordon.
And I'm Cameron Powell.
And today, I'm excited about several things that I think we're going to talk about today, but I'm following your lead, sir. It's several things that I'm going to jump all over.
January 2024 has come out with a bang. We have a lot of things going on, from aliens in Miami to planes blowing up mid-flight.
Blowing up?
Not blowing up.
Yeah.
Falling apart. There was a plane crash in Japan, though. However, the plane did end up in flames.
Yeah, but it was on the ground.
It was on the ground. But speaking of planes,
it doesn't really matter. And the people got off, by the way.
They did. Everyone made it off, which is you always want to hear that.
Kudos to the flight attendants. We don't give them enough credit.
Speaking of explosions and other things, a little bit more local to us, did you hear about what happened in Fort Worth yesterday?
What was that?
There was, at the Sandman Hotel, was it called?
Yeah.
There was an explosion. It looks like a gas leak. I heard they're still investigating it, but it seemed like a gas leak. I think around 21 people were injured. Have you guys ever had any experiences like that and like a big accident, or are you guys suspicious or paranoid of those kind of things ever happening to you? Elevators falling, planes crashing, explosions happening. Are you guys you ever think about that stuff?
I feel like that's a lot to unpack.
It is.
When we're talking about planes, I mean, everything that just happened with the Alaska.
I was going to get to that too.
The Alaskan Airlines flight. Like everything that just happened with that made me reconsider because I love a window seat. So now I'm thinking, do I always want to sit on the window seat if that's what just flew out? So that had me reconsidering things. As far as explosions, I mean, I think I'm always aware of my surroundings, but gas leaks, I mean, unless you smell it, and sometimes you can't always smell it, you got to live your life at some point. And I think that's kind of how I view that one. Like that, everything that I have seen on the news about that explosion, they have reassured it was a gas leak. It was a gas leak. They were doing construction on the restaurant where it happened. So no one was in the restaurant, thank goodness. So I don't know if that's necessarily something I think about. I have thought about it, but I also know that that's out of my control in the end. But I am always cautious of people around me for other things.
I think as a country boy that grew up around gas, I was always afraid of it, but lived my life. I mean, my parents always said, make sure you turn the pilot off. They were very protective about gas. And then there were a couple of gas explosions in the country that I know when I was growing up, and I had three family members. A friend of mine had three family members that were killed.
Wow. Because
of a gas explosion. I mean, you can't play with gas.
No.
But do I think about it? No, not at all. But I'm not a smoker either.
A lot of people have those final destination thoughts where they're like, at any moment, something crazy might happen. And,
I always think about on the plane, if there's a nut, if there's a person who's a little off that wants to pull the lever.
Right.
I do. I think about that. If you're in the exit row.
Right.
I'm always looking at that person.
Well,
That's why I never sit in the exit row.
If you're in flight, it is physically, humanly impossible to pull that lever because of the pressure difference and everything. They won't be able to open it. On the ground, though, that actually happened last summer, I think. The plane was taxiing and someone went crazy. They pulled the lever and jumped out on the wing. That was in like November or October, I think. But 30,000 feet.
And then that window that went out, the plane was up, right?
Yeah, 16,000 feet.
And it sucked the shirt off the kid.
Off someone, sucked out cell phones, a headrest, a seat.
Yeah, so what that was is, different planes, when they're sent to different people, they have different configurations. Sometimes it's more seats. If you're on Spirit, it's a lot more seats. If you're on Spirit, with a lot less legroom.
I'm never going to have a problem on Spirit.
Sometimes
Me either.
There is a long...
Me either.
I won't be flying Spirit. Yes, they won't be advertising on this, but I'm never flying Spirit.
But in that specific configuration,
if it's the last plane from hell,
Spirit's not that bad, I promise you. They all fly the same planes, if I'm being honest.
Apparently not.
No, they do. The plane that broke was actually brand new.
But that's only Alaskan and United are the only ones that fly that plane.
The Max 9 is, but they
So I'm good
the
on
only
Southwest.
Max 9, that Max has not
I'm
been
good.
good.
It got grounded. They grounded, I think, 170 of them.
All of them need to be grounded. It's something systemic wrong with those planes.
Yeah.
I mean, they killed 346 people.
That was the Max 8.
Max. Forget the number.
Hey, the
Max.
37s were designed in the 60s, and
I'm
they're still
hearing
making new
Boeing.
versions
I'm just
of them.
hearing Boeing. How about that?
It's Boeing. It's
Let's
Boeing. I mean, you either got Boeing or Airbus. Embraer too, but those are small planes.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of options.
No.
That's true.
But
There
in
are
that
trains,
specific
there are
configuration,
boats, there
it
are
wasn't an
cars, there are
actual
bikes,
exit
there
row
are-
visible. It was in a different configuration. It could be an exit row, and so it was like a dummy door. It's an area that can be configured as one, but in this specific plane, it was just a wall. So no one even knew it was like a
door, like
door
as big as
there.
it was.
Do you think any of that matters to the kid whose shirt got sucked off?
No, but I did hear something that was, speaking of the Final Destination-ish kind of thing, someone said that the two seats next to that window, the two people who were supposed to be there missed their flight.
Okay, here we go with some movie stuff. All right. I mean, we could all say that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
never
stick
know
with
when you were gonna
Southwest.
die.
That's all I'm gonna-
No,
I'll
you
leave that
don't.
one there.
I mean, I was thinking about going to Fort Worth down on 8th and Houston Street, but I didn't go. Well,
Right.
no.
And I've also
Did
also
anybody
thought
call
about
Joan
that.
in our office when this?
He's here.
No, but I'm saying, did anybody call him when?
I was
this
going
was?
to, but
I did. He didn't answer.
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
So I remembered our office wasn't downtown, so I was
I
like,
remembered our office wasn't downtown, and I know where
told me
he
his
like.
phone was on Do Not Disturb. At
Oh,
the time.
man.
People were checking on him.
Well, but
But he could have been downtown for anything.
right,
Exactly.
He
Just-
definitely could have.
right.
business
that's what I
development.
was thinking
It can
about.
be anywhere.
Right. So just curious.
Sam, you watch the Golden Globes?
I didn't watch the Golden Globes, but I know all the comments that were said. I kind of looked them up. I don't know them verbatim, but
And I read about him talking about being excited about doing the Golden Globes.
he's
The
not
practice he
excited
was-
anymore.
I went to see him a couple times.
Was he good?
Who's him? He was good. Joe Coy? I went to see him. And he's, I guess because he's Filipino, I learned, and because my wife is Filipino, half. The other half, her dad is from Oakland. So I get that Oakland side a lot. I get that Oakland side. But there were a lot of Filipinos that went to see him. He was at the Mort Meyerson or somewhere here, and the place was packed. He's really funny. Really funny. But apparently, Golden Globes didn't.
He wasn't
What happened?
funny that night. He made some jokes that just didn't stick at all. He went after Barbie. He compared it to Oppenheimer in a way that he shouldn't have. Which the whole point of the Barbie movie is to say the women empowerment and all this. And he made a comment about big boobies. That's what he said. Like, you can't say that when you're talking about the Barbie movie. Like, that's the whole point of it. And then he went after Taylor Swift, which, dude, come on, don't go after her. Time Magazine Person of the Year. And he went after her for something that was out of her control. So it just didn't make any sense. He talked about the amount of times the cameraman panned to her on NFL games when she's at the Chiefs, like at the Chiefs game.
It bothers me too, but
But that's not her fault.
I don't watch the Chiefs. So.
Oh, ouch. They're so good.
Really?
I like watching them.
Well, if we're talking about football, how about Michigan going to the championship for the first time since
Surprised.
'97?
Surprised.
Surprised.
I didn't. Michigan's from the Big Ten. I never thought that they'd win a championship.
And their coach was suspended for 3 games for stealing a sign.
No. Yes and no. Yes. But he's the same coach at the first of the season who said, we need to pay these players. We are really just making billions of dollars on these players, and we need to pay them more money. I found it interesting because he said that. Now all of a sudden he's under some scrutiny. They're all still in those signals. So what?
Mm.
And he got I never thought Michigan would win, though, because they run the ball too much.
Do you think they deserve that win? Do you think they earned it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
On the field, when you win.
You win. It's funny you talk about kind of the paying players and everything. I think all throughout my high school, like that was everyone's essay that they wrote about. I don't know what class it was, but they would always ask us, do you think, they would tell us to solve a dilemma or something like that. And that's always the biggest argument is, do you think college athletes should be paid? I go, yeah. I mean, the schools are making, like you said, so much money off of their likeness. And the kids just have to go there, and they don't have a full scholarship, also pay tuition.
Yeah, I've watched that for years. There's always been this thing about, okay, they're paying them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't know that.
Right.
But I do believe that. I remember Mac Brown said this at the University of Texas. He said, by the second half of the second home game, we have paid the entire operational budget for the University of Texas. The second half of the second home game.
That's insane.
The entire year has just been paid. College football is big.
Especially in the South.
TCU is a different school because their football team got good over the last 2 years. And they saw 10 years. They saw more people want to go to TCU. People want to be around winners until they become winners.
Yeah.
And then when they become winners, they hate them.
Yep.
They don't like them.
Yep.
What is that about? Just.
I think I seen something last year. TCU's tuition is now more expensive than Harvard.
Really?
That's pretty crazy to me. I kind of want to harp back to the plane thing because I know you hate water.
I hate spirit.
I'm talking about what we talked about cruises a couple episodes ago, and you were like, "You see all that water out there, and you do not deal with water." How do you feel about flying?
Over water?
Just in general, because I know you would probably never get on a cruise, but how do you feel? Because you fly a lot.
I went on a cruise.
Oh.
Would you go on a cruise again?
I went on a 4-day cruise. That's about as far as I want to be. 7, 10, 14, absolutely not. And it wasn't so much the cruise wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I just don't like to be that disconnected for that long. The thing about a cruise and water is night.
Yeah, you can't see anything. It's just
That's
infinite
scary.
darkness.
That is scary at night. I'm telling you, and you don't know what's out there.
What's up with that? Are you familiar with that 9-year cruise or what is it? Or
What?
9-month cruise or something like that?
I have not heard of that. I don't know that I would
Lauren,
do
you know
that.
anything? No?
I don't think it was 9 years. I feel like 2 or 3. But
It's a very, very, very long cruise that you would sign up and pay for, and you would just be on a cruise
people
for a
sold
couple
their
of years.
houses and didn't sign their leases. Like they were gonna live there because it was cheaper.
Yeah, there's also a thing in the retirement community when people will retire
I can't do that.
and sell
Boss
their
doesn't
stuff,
let us.
and they would just go on a
Work
cruise.
remote. I can't do that.
I
I'm
would
out.
be in Jamaica.
That's why I don't know about it.
The rooms unless you are very fortunate to get one of
A
those
suite.
Yeah,
The rooms are cubbies. They're like the size of
have
this.
you been on those rooms?
Nope.
Oh my goodness!
I've seen
it's,
them though.
It's the size of a cubicle.
Yeah, they're very.
I'd
very
just
small.
rather.
Go out to sea.
I would rather just pay to fly wherever I want to go. Just pay to
So you like
fly,
to
go, and then spend the time there. Like
I'm with that.
I don't need to spend time on a boat doing the water slides, the dinners. I don't need to do that. I can do that at a resort that I flew to, and I have more access to open spaces, air, excursions,
Right.
everything.
And I agree. So
And I don't want to miss the boat. I have a
Right.
big issue with
People
that.
miss the boat.
I don't want to
they're
miss the
stuck.
boat.
is this not like the flight? Okay, here's
There's another
another one
one.
coming. No,
I don't like the time crunch aspect of it.
I
You have so
remember
many
flying
hours.
from London to Cape Town, South Africa.
That's a long flight.
12 hours over land.
Right.
It just talked about the size of Africa. Because once you leave London, you're right in Africa right then.
Yeah, you got like an hour.
Immediately you're in Africa. And it took 12 hours to get to Cape Town. So imagine taking a boat
Mm-hmm. couple weeks?
No, I don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
No.
I flew to Hawaii for the first time this past year. And
From Dallas?
Yes.
It's 8 hours?
9. But
9.
It wasn't straight. I mean, I've done 9 to Amsterdam too. It's not that bad. But from California to Hawaii, like you said, it's just all water.
Water.
You're looking out the window. You're like, man.
Well, one of the interesting flights, too, is to go from here to Tokyo. Depending on which way you go. If you go west, the sun never goes down.
No, you're chasing the sun all day.
It's really interesting. That was interesting to me.
But I just wanted to ask you guys. I like planes. I like flying. I like all that stuff. But you two, I know some people are wary about it. And with everything going on lately with the near misses and the Japan incident and the plane flying.
I think I have a psychological, my wife says this, I think I have a psychological thing because as soon as they start the taxi on the runway, I go to sleep.
That's amazing.
And I don't wake up until the flight is 10, 12, 15.
Oh, see, I can't sleep on a plane.
Me either.
At all.
I can't barely sleep in a car. I can't sleep on a plane either.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I'm going to have a book, AirPods, like listening to music, watching a movie, something, talking to the person next to me.
Exactly.
I cannot sleep.
Me either.
And if I do, I feel like I'm going to sleep on the other person, and half the time I don't know them. And so that's pretty odd to me. And so I'm just like, you know what? Nope, I'll stay awake.
I've had that happen to me before.
Do you wake them?
Leaned her head on my shoulder. I'm like, hey.
I'm married. Hold on.
Yeah, I've had that. This was years ago, but that happened.
And arguably the biggest thing going on right now is definitely the Club Shay Shay interview with Katt Williams. I know, boss, you've been around a lot of those people for a while now. You have your own personal experiences with nearly everyone that Katt Williams mentioned in that interview, and there may be some of that. We'll talk about that more coming soon. But what are your you got any little thoughts now? I know we interviewed DC Curry. We actually spoke with DC Curry recently. And what do you have to say about that?
So we're going to talk to DC Curry. Comedians, I think one of the most interesting things I heard, and I had not heard it until I think you played it for me, is that Bernie Mac said, if you're a comedian, if you're an aspiring comedian, do not use your material around another comedian. Because it's like Jesse James guarding a payroll. Comedians steal other people's stuff. And some of the stuff that Katt Williams said, some of that stuff I know he said is true. So it'll be interesting. Today we're going to talk a little bit to DC Curry, UNCLE ELROY from Friday After Next, who I happen to be on the set with him, Katt Williams, Mike Epps, Ice Cube, Terry Crews. That whole thing that Katt Williams is talking about, I was on the set with them when that happened, and we went to dinner afterwards. But let's talk a bit today to UNCLE ELROY, DC Curry.
Because my wife and I went to see D.L. Hughley about 2 months ago in Dallas at the Improv.
Yeah.
And the next week, he in Memphis with COVID.
Well, let's back up. That was Nashville. You talking about where he fell off the stage?
Well, yeah, Nashville is when he had COVID, right?
Well, he says he had COVID. But it looked very much like Johnny Walker Black to me. You know, COVID get blamed for a lot of things. Have you ever seen COVID knock anybody off a stool like DL fell off that stool? I mean, you know, I like scotch myself.
I can't lay claim to whatever happened. I don't know what happened.
Well, he fell off that stool. He went down like Wendy Williams when her prostate gave out a couple years ago on TV.
When her prostate gave out, okay. I hope we're able to get through these next few minutes with Mr. Curry. He's gonna be on his game today. Listen,
Okay, so for this week on Can You Relate, we're going to talk about Tiger Woods departing from Nike after 27 years. That was kind of, I didn't see that coming. I think that's the best way to put it. And Lauren and I kind of were talking about it this morning, and it came down to brand loyalty. And it's funny, we were just kind of talking about airlines, and that's the first thing for me when it comes to brand loyalty. I mean, everyone kind of knows I'm diehard Southwest. Love it. I'll fly it all the time.
American.
Ugh, no.
I've had to fly American for a couple of things, so I'm kind of getting on an American.
Nearly every American flight I get on is delayed.
Yeah, that's true. But that's what my points are. So
yeah, and I can't do
27 years is like a marriage, and
like
$40 million was the first thing he signed.
Hello world.
It was a humongous amount of money, relatively speaking. But if I'm not mistaken, he signed, I don't know, 110, 120, 160 in re-upping each time. I mean, it's
up there.
If anyone's worth it, it's him. I think.
And he has his own brand though, too, which is even crazier to me just to see that. Like he has his own brand, and then he's with Nike, and I mean, he even said in the article, it says things are coming. So I don't know what that means.
He's opening
a
Topgolf
style putting place. It's already open in Houston.
That. Yeah.
And I think he's putting one in Dallas too.
I played in he has a golf course in Northern California that I played at probably 3 years ago.
Is that where they host the Genesis last year?
It may have been, but it's an enormous amount of money for a course that's just like Cedar Crest.
Wow.
And that means that Cedar Crest is good. But the kind of money that I paid to play at that.
How much do we play to play at Cedar Crest? What's the average? $30?
$40?
Yeah.
$40.
Versus.
But I just think timing is everything. Jack Nicklaus is clearly, he has the most majors. But Tiger is the face of golf. And it's just when he played. It's technology, I think. Social media has blown up. But that's when Jack played, it didn't exist. And obviously Tiger's, I don't think he's going to get the record for the most majors. But he's done more for golf than anybody. And so.
And Nike's been by his side the whole time.
I think.
Most of it.
Yeah.
John and I we had seen something the other day when we were talking about golf before this even came out. And Tiger holds like the top 6 spots for some statistic. The next person is like in 7th place, and all other 6 records are Tiger Woods.
Tiger has 15 majors. The closest person to him has 6. They're never going to catch him. So everybody's talking about he won't catch Jack Nicklaus. They won't catch Tiger. Because that person is Phil Mickelson. Mm-hmm. And Phil is now playing on the senior tour. It's not going to happen. It's just, and everybody was the next Tiger. Right. It was going to be, he's had so many arch enemies in his 20-some years, but hell, he beat them all to death.
How you feel about his son?
I was going to say, that was my next comment was, Charlie's coming up there.
Charlie's playing.
Yeah, but I don't think Charlie has the same demeanor Tiger has.
Tenacity. Doesn't have it to
Tiger's
prove.
A killer. Tiger was a killer. Charlie, nice kid.
Maybe that weakens you. I don't know.
We talking about brand loyalty though. So, in my opinion, the whole move for Tiger was just a matter of time because he has his own brand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, we're talking about brand loyalty. He's loyal to his own brand. Why do I need Nike anymore when I'm doing my own thing? He's putting out.
And in no way did they part on bad terms either. Like Nike posted something on it and they said it was a hell of a round. Like they
exactly
posted
right.
because they know what they had, and I think they knew they wouldn't always have him.
But they're also cutting back.
Yeah, Nike isn't in golf much anymore, the way I understand it.
But they're laying people off.
Oh wow!
And no,
yeah, Nike golf really isn't what it was. Like in the 90s, 2000s.
Yeah, do you you have a brand that you wear?
I was gonna ask that too. I'm not really biased to anybody, honestly.
Are we talking just sports?
Just anything. I was gonna say?
Because I mean, just brand loyalty in general. Yeah. I mean, I really like Lululemon. That's for me is like athletic wear when it's always Lululemon. Nike is shoes. It used to be Adidas, but now it's more so Nike, I would say. But I go back and forth. Like I will have a year of Nike, 2 years of Nike, and then I go back to Adidas comes out with something new. So it's not really loyalty. It'll be loyal for 365 days and then.
Well, let me take this a step further. Do women have a loyalty to name brand or clothes that you buy, like Zara or
no?
Just
some people are like die hard. I have known some girls that are like die hard, one brand only. But no, I don't. I like to mix it up too much, and I feel like the styles and the seasons, everything changes so quickly, and different brands they have their own take on style, and so I like mixing it up with them.
There was the funeral this week of Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson.
You attended, right?
And they talked about she was a St. John's girl. What does that mean? It's a brand. It's a brand of clothes. Whatever St. John, I don't know what that is, but they said she always had on her St. John. So she clearly was loyal to some name brand. Like a lot of people, they go to Neiman Marcus or I was talking to D.C. Curry not long ago, and he said he and Steve Harvey were both at Neiman Marcus at the same time. When I think of Neiman Marcus, I don't think of men.
I don't really either.
But they were both at Neiman Marcus. I didn't want to get too far away from Congresswoman Johnson, though, because it's rare that you can get a president, a vice president, both sitting, a past president, a speaker of the House, leader of the Senate, and 65 congressional members to come to your funeral, and every elected official in the city, the mayor, the city manager, the sheriff, all of the commissioners.
The Willis Johnson.
I mean, everybody. It speaks volumes about the impact of Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. And she was a friend of mine. But she made such a big difference in the Texas area. She passed that infrastructure bill with Colin Allred. Those bridges in Dallas that you see, that's Eddie Bernice Johnson. DART, DFW Airport, that's Eddie Bernice Johnson. And so you say to yourself, you say to Cameron, you say to Willis, or you say to Lauren or to John, and you say, Samantha, what am I doing with the dash in my life that will make an impact, that will last beyond my time here? You guys ever think about that?
Every day.
What impact am I making? I think when you're doing it, I'm sure Eddie Bernice was never thinking about, oh, okay, I'm going to leave this legacy, until she got a little older. So it's unfair for me to ask Samantha or Cameron that question.
No, I mean, I think about it a lot because I'm around you a lot. You're in a Radio Hall of Fame. Everyone knows
that
Willis
implies
Johnson.
That I must be on my way out.
No, you're not on your way out. No.
And here we come back with the leather cap.
You had a leather helmet, but we're not saying you're on your way out. All I'm saying is you're a great role model, and you've already done so much in your life. I'm not cleaning it up. I'm just telling you how I feel about it. But I think when you see those big figures around you, it makes you start to think earlier about how you want to be remembered, because it's just, I see it a lot, especially in the work we do and the people we're always around. We're always around.
In this office especially.
Yeah.
There's some heavy hitters that come through this office and people that have done a lot. We can't even say it all in 30 minutes, just the impact most people that are within this office have had. So I definitely, it's something that I think about as well. What am I doing to leave a legacy like that? Am I doing anything? What could I do to have more of an impact?
Right.
Well, if I'm here, and they haven't gone to the funeral.
Cameron's trying to kick him out. Kick him.
We'll be back next week on the JBJ Management Podcast.